Why are Jews so rich? Why can't anyone become a Jew? Why have Jews and Muslims been at war for more than 7 years? About 60 years before Christ, the Jerusalem fell into the hands of the Romans. The rulers of Rome didn't like the Jews, so they changed the name of the Israel to the Palestine, which is derived from the Greek word Philistia. The Romans didn't allow the Jews to farm and trade, and also deported many of them from Palestine. When the situation became difficult for them, they made a new decision. They decided to pull their money together and created something similar to today's banks. They lent money to people and received interest from them. Considering to their small population, Jews still hold most of the world's money. In Islam and Christianity, anyone can become a Christian or Muslims by accepting a religious belief. But this is not the case in Judaism. There are two conditions for becoming a Jew. 1. Accepting the beliefs of Judaism. 2. Having a Jewish mother. Almost 700 years later, in 637 AD, Muslims were able to conquer Jerusalem. After the conquest of Jerusalem by the Muslims and the sharp increase of the Muslims' population there, the Jews with their small population could worship freely in that city. In the 11th century, the Crusades began, which we talked about in the last video, how all the Christians of Europe fought with the Muslims for about 200 years. After the Crusades, Jerusalem was still in the hands of Muslims. In the 19th century, European Jews who had problems with the Christians decided to return to Jerusalem. As you know, Hitler killed about 6 million Jews in Europe during the World War. After the Jews migrated to Jerusalem, their population increased there so that they decided to make the whole country their own. This decision of the Jews is the main reason for the war in Palestine, which has been going on for more than 7 years. Now the question is, why this war doesn't end after more than 7 years? Let me explain to you with an example. Two villages fight over water and many of both villages are killed. The people of these two villages hate each other and their children will hate each other in the future, so that they forget what they are fighting about. How can we talk about peace with a mother whose child was killed in a war? How can we talk about peace with a man whose parents were killed in the war? If they stop killing children, after some years, maybe we can talk about peace, that the whole of Palestine and Israel become one country, and everyone can accept whatever religion they like. Now the main crime is the killing of children and civilians in Gaza. Everything in the world is legal, even war, but Israel doesn't consider any law. They cannot talk about peace with their parents until they stop killing their children. Thank you for watching. I wish you the best.